Welcome to the Down the Scenes podcast. It is the debut of our new, I don't even know what to call it, like segment. I don't know, like spin-off show,
Yeah.
whatever.
late
Um,
night, late night show.
yeah,
Something like
it's our version of Jimmy Kimmel.
that. The late.
No, Down the Scenes After Hours, brand new thing that we're hopefully gonna do more in the future. It's just gonna be specifically for one, getting Nate more involved since we're on very different time schedules or time
Time zones.
zones. We're in different time zones. So it's harder to schedule for Nate. So this would be a good way for him to get more involved. And also, it would be very useful for things we might not have had a chance to cover during the day. We can get to it later on in the evening. So yeah, welcome in, and it's gonna be a fun show. Nate's back with us, obviously. How are you doing?
Doing all right, doing all right. Taking care of a couple of things outside of sports and work, just to make sure I better myself and actually have more time to record these videos. Because honestly, it's always a blast talking about football. Even if you're going through bad times,
Yeah,
football's a good way to get away with it.
yeah. Well, speaking of bad times, we got some bad times to talk about tonight. And that's another reason I've been looking forward to this because I haven't really. We Brandon and I recorded something earlier in the week, but we just made predictions for the upcoming round and the playoffs and stuff like that. I haven't really had a chance to talk about the Panthers, because we talked about other teams instead. And I've kind of just all week been sitting here with my thoughts. Didn't really get the chance to, verbalize my feelings after that tough one last weekend. And I'm sure you as well. I don't know who else you talked to about the Steelers other than us within this podcast. Um, but for me, I didn't really get the chance to express my feelings. I kind of just dealt with them.
I pretty much just expressed everything with you. I was just
Yeah,
rambling. My wife
yeah.
heard
You
some
were
of it
down bad.
too. Yeah,
Seemed like you were down bad there.
yeah, my wife heard some of it too, but that's about it. I haven't really talked about it with anyone else. It's pretty much just kind of keeping the minds to the not the minds, but the thoughts to myself, kind of just to talk about it in the next opportunity we could together, because there's a lot that's happened within this week. So, I'm excited. I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, other things around the league, uh, stuff Brandon and I have already, touched on or talked about it, but just to get your thoughts, what's your take on John Harbaugh? Since, I mean, we haven't really got the chance to have you on, so you missed the firing or stepping away, whatever you want to call it, and the rehiring of John Harbaugh. So, like, where are you at with the John Harbaugh situation?
Honestly, I feel like it's kind of like the same situation that the Steelers are going through, where I think it was time. But I also feel like a lot of Ravens fans put the blame on John Harbaugh when he wasn't the one that fumbled, in the AFC Championship game against the Chiefs. He's not the one that dropped the ball against the Bills. You know, as I mean, I feel like people don't give John Harbaugh enough credit for the things that he's done for the Ravens. Um, but I think honestly, sometimes it's better to step away. I mean, I think he got fired, but either way, I
Yeah, I
think it's
think he
better
did.
for him to just to find that new environment, an environment where people are actually excited to be playing under you again, instead of being the scapegoat for a team that honestly was just not living up to the standards of their own talents. So I think it's the Giants, especially, it's a good fresh start for him. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of players, especially Jackson Dart, excited to play under him. I think Giants fans, they're also excited, so it's a good thing for him. Um, him being away from the division. I mean, you got used to hating the guy, but honestly, you also appreciate the good times you had. The good games, amazing games. That rivalry with the Steelers and the Ravens. But um, I'm happy for John. I think he deserves a new environment, and I'm excited. I feel like the Giants are definitely gonna be a lot more competitive now that he's over there, and they gotta keep pushing forward.
I mentioned to Brandon, I don't remember if I said it on or off air, but I had mentioned to him that I feel like Lamar Jackson has held that the Ravens team back for quite a while now. And like you said, I mean, you and I share similar feelings about this John Harbaugh situation. I feel like he was the fall guy basically for all the things that went wrong in Baltimore the last few years.
Mhm.
When realistically, I don't place the blame on him at all. Um, I've never really been a huge fan of Lamar Jackson. I felt like he was a little tad bit overrated. Um, he as a Panther fan, there's a little bias here, but not really is my genuine feeling. I think Cam Newton was the best mobile quarterback of all time, and people try to put, you have Cam Newton and Josh Allen, I think are one category of running quarterbacks.
Uh,
And then you have Mike Vick and Lamar Jackson, because neither Lamar Jackson or Mike Vick were known for throwing the ball whatsoever at all. And then it was just their run game. Then you have Cam Newton and Josh Allen. Cam Newton, his MVP year, had 35 touchdowns. That wasn't all rushing. Um, so it's like people try to compare and say that Lamar Jackson is this great quarterback. Outside of rushing, what did Mike Vick do in terms of like stats and numbers? Like what did let's be real about it. Mike Vick did nothing but run the ball.
yeah.
From an overall perspective, obviously he threw the ball. He's a quarterback, but from an overall perspective, all he did his whole career was run the ball. And Lamar Jackson's the same way. And they compare the two all the time. Any quarterback that runs the ball a lot, they compare to Mike Vick, and Lamar Jackson has gotten so many comparisons to Mike Vick, and like people saying that Lamar Jackson's the best mobile quarterback of all time, blah 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 blah. But he's really not. You got at least two ahead of you: Cam Newton, Josh Allen, and Josh Allen's very swiftly becoming the number one.
Mhm.
He just broke Cam's rushing touchdown record. So I think Lamar Jackson's been severely overrated, especially when it comes to the inability to win big games. And I also mentioned to Brandon that I don't think John Harbaugh gets fired if that kick goes in.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either.
So I think that Lamar Jackson, the players on that team, certain players on that team have held themselves back, and like you said, John Harbaugh has just been the fall guy for that. And I think it's kind of unfair, but that's the business. And like you said, I think it was time for a change, and it could be good for John Harbaugh and especially the Giants organization.
Mhm.
So I think it's really good.
One more thing I do want to mention is so the time sometimes whenever I'm like washing the dishes and cleaning around the apartment, I usually like to find podcasts that like to talk about what's going on around the NFL. There's this one podcast I actually listen to. It's called Speakeasy. It's with Shady McCoy. I think he's part of it. Also Emmanuel Acho, something like that. I think that's his name.
mm,
But they were talking about they were kind of talking bad about John Harbaugh as a coach when it comes to like the past few years as a Raven. They were mentioning something about how Harbaugh he made pretty poor decisions. He made Lamar pass the ball more than he should have ran it. Um, and I will say that this year was kind of like the way that the Ravens looked this year. Not considering the whole injury with Lamar. He missed a few games there in the beginning. It just seemed like they were just making it through the season.
mm,
There was no spark there whatsoever. I feel like after that, like you can tell after that week one loss, that comeback, you know, uh,
yeah.
that was crazy. Like we thought it was over, and that it just felt like they were just let's just get the season over with. That's the kind of vibe that you kind of felt.
I think he
And
lost the locker room. I think you're onto something there. I think he lost the locker room. I don't think that he made any bad coaching decisions. He just
uh
lost the locker room. Like they started off very bad. And
Exactly.
you look back at, some bad teams in the past, that's typically what happens. If you finish the season the way the Ravens did, it probably is a result of losing the locker room. You've seen teams have bad starts and finish like with 8 wins or like 7 wins on the fringe, like just short of the playoffs or something like that, after starting like 1-5 or whatever.
Uh-huh.
Um, but then the coaches didn't lose the locker room. The team stayed focused on what they were trying to accomplish. Like, okay, yeah, this is not ideal, but let's just finish strong. We're not going to the playoffs, but let's just finish strong. And I feel like you're right there. Like John Harbaugh might have just lost the locker room, and that might be what ultimately led to him being fired.
Yeah, and I feel like that whole situation with that first week. I mean, that was the tone setter of the season.
Yeah,
Same thing with I think towards like the halfway point of the like for some reason whenever the first game that they played against the Steelers, Derrick Henry didn't even barely even touch the ball in the second half of that game. And I feel like that could be, internal issues that they had where, Derrick Henry had fumbled the ball a lot of times, in critical situations, especially that week 1 game. Maybe Harbaugh lost that confidence in Derrick Henry. I don't know what the heck was going on. Maybe that relationship just wasn't the same. But at the same time, as going back to the point that I was saying before, where people were criticizing Harbaugh and trying to make him more of a passer than a runner, I also feel like it's because whenever Lamar would get closer to like the playoffs, he would always get hurt within the last few weeks. And so I feel like that's the reason why he did that. I feel like people just look at Lamar and think that he's the answer to everything. How if you have his running game, then they're gonna win. But at the same time, if you have his running game and then he gets hurt, what's the point of having him?
yeah,
So I mean, there's just a lot of things that went wrong with the Ravens organization, and it's just that maybe they're cool, they're gonna be cool with each other, but at the same time, if you're butting heads, it's time to move on. And
yeah.
yeah,
Somebody has to go, and it's either
someone's gotta go. Yeah,
your head coach or your quarterback.
yeah.
That's typically the decision that has to be made. And I don't think the Ravens are in a position to get rid of Lamar Jackson if they wanted to. But at
A
the
lot of
same
money.
time, to win, the number one thing you need is a quarterback.
Hmm.
So if you keep John Harbaugh, show Lamar the door, you're starting from ground zero either way.
Hmm.
So you might as well try to keep it. I would say the Ravens might be on the verge of a rebuild, like full scale rebuild. You want to keep some kind of relevancy. Brandon and I had a conversation about some teams earlier or during the season, and we were talking about where I had said something about staying relevant, continuing to win through the rebuild. That's what if you can do that, then you're setting yourself up for long term success. Um, and if that's what the Ravens are going to try to do, rebuild while staying relevant, um, keeping your quarterback is definitely the way to do it, even if your quarterback's not a real uh, proven winner.
Hmm.
Experience matters. But moving on do you have any more thoughts on John Harbaugh before we go to something else?
No, just wish him the best. I do want to see him succeed. I want that division with the Giants and the Eagles and the Commanders. I want that to be
Yeah,
competitive. That's definitely a division that I'm interested in looking at, especially with Jackson Dart. I'm a big fan of Jackson Dart.
yeah, same. Um, I saw a comparison earlier today. Who did I? Jackson Dart was compared to somebody, and it was not a good comparison. I can't remember. It sucks because that would be good to bring up right now. Um, I can't remember who it was, but it wasn't a good comparison. Everybody needs to pump the brakes on judging my boy because rookie year, up and down, injury, head coach gets fired. Like it was not a good situation to be in the first place. And
Hmm.
then you want to sit here and act like his production was like, what's the word I'm looking for? His production is what was the defining factor. Like like everybody's blaming Jackson Dart for his success or the lack thereof in his rookie year when nothing's really his fault.
Hmm.
The Giants are not a good team. They don't have a good roster. Their head coach got fired, and then he got hurt.
And his running back got hurt too.
Yeah, and
Both
his
of them.
running back got hurt. So like they're fine. Jackson Dart's going to be fine. Stop hating on my boy.
Mhm.
I called it going into the draft. Jackson Dart was going to be the best rookie quarterback. Was going to be the best quarterback from this draft class. Long term, not rookie year. So, still, we've seen this before. We've seen it before. He's not blowing the doors off, but Bryce Young, rookie year, very bad. Head coach got fired. Terrible roster. Year 3, he's in the playoffs. That's all I'm going to say. Jackson Dart, same kind of scenario. Same kind of scenario.
Well, let me close the door a little bit. You're still going to hear it, but it's whatever.
So, get into some things. So, we're going to start with the Panthers.
Uh-huh.
And we're going to work our way into the Steelers and some other things. Brandon and I have already talked about the playoffs, made our predictions for this week, so I'm going to avoid going back down the rabbit hole of the divisional round. I will say this, though. I want to get your take on this. It was a conversation that Brandon and I had off the air earlier today or yesterday. The Sam Darnold oblique thing. Said he's probably still going to be good to go for the game. Should be confident he will be. Whatever. Brandon had mentioned something to me. Something he has seen online or whatever, that maybe they were doing that for a competitive advantage to force the 49ers to game plan for backup, or for them to plan for someone else, and then Sam Darnold go in there. Brandon said he likes that idea. Here's my take. Okay, and I want to hear your opinion too. I feel like that's a terrible idea. If that's what's happening, if they're saying that Sam Darnold's hurt to kind of play mind games with the 49ers, I think you're messing yourself up there. Because now, what if you go into the game and something does happen to Sam Darnold and the backup quarterback comes in the game, whether it be Drew Lock or Jalen Milroe? Backup quarterback comes in the game, they're already prepared for him. Normally, when a backup quarterback comes into the game, they weren't ready for it. They haven't game planned for him. They don't know what they're going to do, and then he blows the doors off the defense. If you do this, you're giving them an opportunity, saying, "Hey, you should probably game plan for our backup." Then, if something does happen to Sam Darnold, they got that backup plan ready. Like, oh, if number 2 comes in the game, this is what we're going to do. You're giving away your competitive advantage rather than making one. Where do you stand on that?
I don't think it gives them a competitive advantage at all, regardless of what they decide. I think the Niners, regardless, should game plan the same for all 3 quarterbacks.
But you
Stop the
can't.
run, force them to throw. That's it. I think you really have
Do you not
to.
think they have a capable quarterback, like passing wise?
No, not in the playoffs. Sam Darnold, same record as last year. More weapons than last year, if I'm being honest. You got Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, I'm pretty sure TJ Hawkinson was there, right, last year too?
Yeah.
Like, the only difference that he has now is he has a better run game, but you only have one receiver that you gotta, you really have that'll pop off. I mean, I think the Niners, regardless, should focus on the run game, add pressure to Sam Darnold, force him to throw the ball, have the safety help on the side of wherever JSN is, and then that's it. I think that's going to win the game. Because even if let's say he does pretty good as far as accuracy, all it takes is one mistake. I mean, that Niners offense with Kyle Shanahan running that offense, they can go score for score. Even with interceptions, they can still find a way to win. I mean, I'm saying the Seahawks, I mean, they have a good defense as well, but Sam Darnold had a great defense last year too because of Brian Flores. So I think regardless, you game plan for the same thing. If Sam Darnold gets hurt, continue putting pressure on Drew Lock, continue putting pressure on Jalen Milroe, especially because Milroe, he's going to be using his legs, if for some reason, I don't think he's going to get in the game, but you never know. Yeah, but I think regardless, you just stick to that same game plan of putting the pressure, force them to throw the ball, and then get the takeaways. That's it. I mean, I don't think there's any competitive advantage there. If anything, I mean, no, I don't see any kind of advantage there.
Who do you take in that game? What would be your prediction?
I'm taking the Niners.
Ooh,
taking the Niners.
Brandon and I both took Seattle. I think I also told him off the air that when the playoffs first started, after the Panthers lost, of course, I was really in on the Seahawks winning the Super Bowl. And the more I thought about it, I just don't see it happening. I don't see, and it all falls down on Sam Darnold. Um, he's not the type of quarterback that is built for the bright lights. As the stage gets bigger, he crumbles harder. I mean, you saw that game against the Rams where the division was on the line, realistically, and he almost lost it. He messed up a lot.
Uh-huh.
Thank the heavens for their defense. Their defense kept putting them in positions for Sam Darnold to go fix his own mistakes. And even then, it came down to controversy. You saw what Sam Darnold did last year in the playoffs. He didn't even show up.
He looked
He
like
looked,
he was from the Jets, back in the
yeah,
Jets.
he looked like Carolina Sam Darnold. It was bad, and I expect much of the same. The defense is going to have to be what wins the game for the Seahawks. So I think that's not going to take you very far.
I mean, especially when you have Juwan Jennings, you still got Christian McCaffrey, Ricky Pearsall if he's coming back.
Yeah,
I mean, they got a lot more weapons offensively, so.
yeah. So I don't know. I think it's going to be a good game, but it could get out of hand if the Seahawks show up. They could run away with it, but yeah, that's that. Moving on.
Yeah, I think that whole game, the outcome of the game will always come down to Sam Darnold.
Yeah,
If he shows up, honestly, then it would be over. But I'm pretty confident that they'll have a game plan to put pressure on him to make mistakes.
yeah, for sure. Let's talk about these heartbreaks, shall we?
Mm.
So, what was your take from the Panthers Rams game? What were your thoughts?
I was really impressed. I was really impressed with the Panthers. It's hard to take away from both sides. Like, let's say you're a Rams fan and you think, okay, this is going to be it's going to be basically a bye. We're going to just walk through the Panthers. Sure, they beat us earlier this year, but this is a playoff team that's never been in the playoffs. So we're just going to run by them, no sweat. So maybe, Rams fan coming into that game, they're a little bit, well, getting out of that game, they're a little bit concerned with how the Rams are playing. But at the same time, on the other hand, someone who's either a Panthers fan or outside of the Panthers is pretty impressed. Like myself, I was very impressed with especially Bryce Young being able to, not really impressed. I knew he had it in him. He's shown it before that he has, clutch factor, but just kind of proud of him for staying confident in himself, not really shying away from that kind of pressure. Because, I mean, talking about my feeling with the Steelers game, I damn near had a heart attack before the game even started. But like just the kind of pressure and the nerves that he probably felt. Honestly, very proud of Bryce Young and how he played. Not too happy with that defense, but I mean, whatever, I guess. But T Mac, I always knew he had that dog in him.
What I say? What I say at the beginning of the year?
We both said it.
Rookie of the year.
You did say rookie of the year. I said they would have to rely more on T Mac. But yeah, I mean, I'm very happy with what I saw from the Panthers. Honestly, a very bright future if they keep, building that offense. I was actually gonna ask your opinion on, what they should do next as far as the defensive side, because I feel like that defense, they need more pass rushers.
For sure.
They need a better pass rush, but we can go more into like who you think they should pick up.
So we're gonna talk about free agents eventually, and I answer your questions right there. So I'll leave that for then. My thing with the Panthers is, again, I'm with you. I was very impressed with Bryce Young, but it's nothing new to me. I have my thoughts. I have my opinions on BY9. The first 3 quarters, it's not it. However, if you can keep it close, Bryce Young will show up for you in the fourth quarter. If you can just give the offense a chance with the game on the line, Bryce Young will show up for you. The defense, they balled out. They took him a little bit to get settled in, but the middle third of the game, that defense was balling. They gave up a couple explosives that were missed throws. You had a drop by Puka before the half.
That was huge.
And that was a couple like, whoa, where was our defense there? Where were they at? What were we doing? But that's what playmakers do. They're elite receivers are gonna find ways to get open. You just have to be able to go point for point with them, touchdown for touchdown with them. And there for a minute, that's what we were doing. It came down to which defense got more stops, and ultimately, the beginning, that slow start came back to bite us in the
Mhm.
end. We spotted them 14, got those 14 back, but then the defense, the Rams made more plays on the defensive side of the ball than we did. I'll tell you, immediately after the game, I was hurt. Going into the game, I was telling myself, it's been a good year. We have a losing record. Maybe the people are right. We don't technically deserve to be here. Truthfully, we do. We won the division. We earned the division title. No matter what happened in Week 18 in Tampa, we earned the spot. We earned the right to play and have a chance to win a Super Bowl. But maybe the people are right. Maybe we don't deserve to be here. This is a young team, a rebuilding team. The rebuild's not done. It's been a good year. Whatever happens, I'm okay. Then the game started, and we were down 14. I'm like, oh, okay. That's tough. I want us to show a little bit more resilience than that. Or let me rephrase that. I want us to show a little bit more moxie than that. I at least want to act like a playoff team. But then I got to thinking, this team's been here before. If there is a resilient team that I know very well, it's the Carolina Panthers. This team fought all year, so many times, just showing resilience. Then all of a sudden, we're in the lead, and I think we do have a chance to shock the world right now. And then we went point for point, stop for stop. The defense started playing good. Mike Jack with a crazy interception. Somebody said after the game, and I agree with them, that might be the best corner duo in the league. Mike Jackson and J.C. Horn, and I might be on that boat next. Beginning of the year, I wouldn't have said that. Now, after seeing what they did throughout the year, look back at the game in San Francisco, and people forget Mike Jack had a couple picks get away from him earlier on in the year too. He had a drop pick in Green Bay. There was a couple more times he had dropped interceptions, but that's the one that sticks in my brain. And then he went to he was very open about this. He went into the jug machine the very next week. He said, I just caught balls, like, for however long. And he got better at catching the football. He had a crazy pick six, he had a crazy pick against Atlanta. Tried to take it to the house, didn't work. Had that interception where he basically ran the route for him against Seattle, whoever he was covering, I forgot. But Mike Jack played really good down the stretch. And yeah, that might be the best cornerback duo in the entire NFL. What hurt me the most is that we had a chance to win the game. And now that I've had this week to collect my thoughts, kind of get over it a little bit. In that moment, I was very upset because going into it, I was content with whatever happens. But then the end of the game, man, minute to go, we had a chance. And that's what hurts. We had a chance. A team that nobody gave any hope to. 10.5 point underdogs in a playoff game. The second largest spread in NFL history. In playoff history, or at least since 2011, it is the largest, I think. Nobody gave us any bit of a chance, and we had a lead. It took a game-winning drive to put us away. So that one hurt, but it also gave me hope and belief for the future. And then Dan Morgan comes out and says something. We expect to win now. His quote, going into the offseason, that was in his season-ending press conference. We expect to win now. The rebuild's over, folks. Prepare. We're back. Because when Dan Morgan says something, he typically delivers. So I expect us to have a huge offseason, and don't be surprised if we win 10-plus games next year. There's no better time to be a Panther fan. There's no better time to have pride. There's pride in this logo again. Because, and another thing somebody said, for one, 28 million viewers. Stop giving us road games at night. Give us primetime games in Charlotte. That stadium was rocking. Somebody said that they would put Carolina on a night like that. They would put Carolina against Kansas City and Seattle for the loudest place and the toughest place to play in the NFL. I've been telling y'all all year, man, stop sleeping on Bank of America Stadium. It's really, capacity-wise, top 5 biggest stadium in the NFL. Like, they packed the house. You get 79,000 people screaming, brother? It's loud, let me tell you. The Panthers are back. I was hurt at first, but looking back on it, Bryce Young, Dave Canales, Derek Brown, the guys that have been here, got it out the mud, they deserve that experience. They need that experience. Now, you know what it feels like to be there. Now go find out what it feels like to be there and win. And I really feel like that's what we're going to do. And just while we're on the topic of the Panthers, I've been going at it with Bucs fans all week long, man. They just keep running their mouth. Let me just clarify something. Your Super Bowls don't matter. One dude kept wanting to talk about the Super Bowls. Oh, y'all don't have rings, though. I don't care about that. Here's what I care about. We won the division. The 2025 season ended with the Carolina Panthers in first place because you couldn't do your job. You were down so bad that you won. You beat us in Week 18 and still didn't win the division. How does that make you feel? We tried to give it to you, and you still couldn't get it. Make that make sense. Oh, but you want to talk about Super Bowls. Okay, since you want to talk so much about the past, how did that 0-26 start to your franchise feel? Here's another stat for you. We've been around for 30 seasons. The Carolina Panthers have been a thing for 30 years. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have been around for 50, and we had the same amount of Super Bowl appearances. You want to talk about Super Bowls? Why do we have the same number of appearances when you've been around for 20 years longer than us? Let's talk about it, Tampa Bay. Let's talk about it, Bucs fans. Y'all want to talk about the past so much. How about them nine fourth place finishes in the NFC South since 2006? 2006, I think. 9 fourth place finishes. Tom Brady shows up to save you, give you a Super Bowl. You weren't nothing before. You haven't been anything since. Last time I checked, you lost to Washington in the wild card round last year. Same boat. Dog water Tampa Bay Buccaneers team makes the playoffs in a terrible division, loses in the wild card to Washington of all teams. And I believe that's twice. Washington done beat you in the playoffs twice in the last 5 years. And the last time was Taylor Heineke at quarterback.
That dude was clutch for no reason.
No reason. You want to talk about the past? Let's go. How about crab legs? How them 30 interceptions feel? I've been going at it with Buccaneers fans all week long. All week. It's like, brother, the Saints are in the middle of a rebuild. The Falcons are restarting a rebuild, basically. We're finishing our rebuild. It's back to the basement, Tampa. Go back to where you belong. And wear it pridefully. You had your little run. It's over. It's over. I'm sorry. Actually, no, I'm not sorry. Because all you've been doing for the last 5 years is running your trap. Just blah, 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 blah. It's over. You had a championship window that you didn't deliver on. Tom Brady shows up, again, wins you a Super Bowl, didn't do anything. You had one good run. And I'm sorry. I wouldn't even call it a good run because you can't tell me that the storyline isn't good enough. Tom Brady leaves New England, goes to Tampa of all teams, which is the worst team in the NFC, goes to Tampa, which just so happened to be hosting the Super Bowl that year, and wins the Super Bowl? No, cuz. You can't make me believe that that's just a run. No. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just pointing out the facts. Sounds rigged to me. Sounds like a storyline to me because you beat the Chiefs.
Oh, you're back. You're back.
See, the whole world don't want me to release the facts. They don't want me. They don't want me to have this moment. I start speaking facts. Everything goes wrong. Everything goes wrong. My internet wants to cut out because I'm speaking straight facts.
Bro, you should see the way that it paused. Like the camera that it paused. You were like,
you dog walk the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. You haven't done anything since then. It's just like these Bucs fans talking about the Super Bowl 5 years ago is the same thing as the 49ers fans talking about Super Bowls. The Cowboys fans talking about Super Bowls. Brother, your Super Bowl is no longer relevant when you don't have anybody from that Super Bowl team on your roster. So why are 49ers fans and Cowboys fans and no offense, Steelers fans talking about Super Bowls when you don't even have a Super Bowl player on your roster anymore? No one there was a part of that Super Bowl run.
We had Mike Tomlin.
Out, you get the point. I'm talking about players.
I know. I'm just messing with you.
Like, and the Bucks, yeah, you got Mike Evans or whatever, Chris Godwin, Levante David, whatever. It doesn't matter. It was 5 years ago. What did you do now? What are you doing right now? You were sitting at the on the couch.
I don't think anyone on that defense is the same either.
Levante David. Yeah, JPP come back for whatever reason for one game, just to miss the playoffs. What were you doing during the 2025 playoffs? You were at home on the couch, and you were part of that 28 million people watching the Carolina Panthers, not the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Go back to the basement where you belong. Your rebuild starts now. Levante David's leaving. Mike Evans' contract is up. Good luck. That championship window? Goodbye. Not even division titles for you anymore. Because when the Saints get back, the Falcons are going to come back, and the Panthers are back. So I'll leave you with that. That's my take on the Panthers. The Bucs are no longer relevant, and you'll be lucky if they ever are again. It's going to be another 20 years before they're relevant again. So congratulations. 2 Super Bowl rings. Yay. And we still want to talk about the past. How about we made the playoffs our first/second year as a team? You didn't win a game your first 3 years. Tough. Record-wise, we're the best expansion team of all time. You didn't win a game your first 3 years. Sucks to suck, I guess. You can keep your fluky little Super Bowl trophies. I don't care about that. We have the same amount of appearances as you, and with 20 less chances. So, don't worry. Daddy's home. We're back. Now on to the Steelers. You gave your take on the Panthers first. I'll give my take on the Steelers first. And then I'll let you go at it. Take as much time as you need. I'm disappointed, man. I'm disappointed because I really felt that the Steelers, they could have, they had their moments. They had some pretty bad moments throughout the year. But every team has bad moments. I genuinely thought the Steelers had enough talent and experience to at least make a solid enough run to the AFC title game. Because when you get to the playoffs, anything can happen. But that offense was just terrible. You look at the score and you're like, oh, the Texans just mollywopped the Steelers. No, that's not really what happened. C.J. Stroud played an awful game. The Texans' offense was terrible. Worse than the Steelers' offense. You look at that scoop and score. Moments like that throughout the game that just like, the Texans punched them in the mouth and the Steelers didn't swing back. That's what it was. They got punched in the mouth and they didn't swing back. What happened to that nitty-gritty Pittsburgh stuff? Like blue-collar city, hard-working, get it out the mud, very resilient. What happened to those teams? Mentally tough. Mike Tomlin, where did your coaching go, brother? I was disappointed. For once, I was genuinely supporting the Steelers, and they let me down. They let me down hard. I went to bat for the Steelers so many times this year, and it's like, man, Nate was right. Steelers fan told me this team is not good, and I didn't listen to him. I don't really have a lot to say about the Steelers. It's just, I'm disappointed. I think it was time for a change at head coach. I don't think it's going to be a long rebuild. I don't really even think the Steelers are going to rebuild. You're just like a couple missing pieces. You're still a playoff team. It's not like, you're losing a bunch of longtime superstars. You got to find a way to fill the hole of an all-time great. You already went through that with Ben Roethlisberger. You find your quarterback and your head coach, the Steelers are golden. Couple pieces on defense here and there. What's his name? Logan Wilson? Logan Wilson played a great game. Is that his name? Peyton. Yeah. Peyton Wilson played phenomenal. You got some really good young guys. I shouted him out the other day on the show, but I'm going to shout him out again. Adam Thielen, what a career. What a career. I'm gonna miss seeing him play. I wish I don't know. I don't really know what it was. It's hard to pinpoint what went wrong, but I just wish that offense could have got going, man. And y'all need like Jalen Warren's a good back, but y'all need a good, like solid every down, like bell cow running back that's gonna get you the tough yards to open up the pass game. Kenneth Gainwell's not it, doing whatever he does. Pass game, run game, whatever. He was a backup in Philly for a reason. He was a backup in Pittsburgh, and not a good one from an overall perspective. It's just, I'm disappointed. But again, I think it's a bright future for the Steelers for sure. It's not like hopefully I'll get a good head coach up in there. Please don't promote Arthur Smith. Please fire him. Get you a new offensive coordinator. I think that was the biggest issue against Houston, is because that Texas defense is good. I don't think Arthur Smith knew how to call plays against them. I don't think they were very well game planned offensively. The defense played good for the most part, at least early on. Forced multiple takeaways, got to CJ Stroud multiple times. That defense is a couple pieces away from being elite, in my opinion. But Arthur Smith, dude, you did not call a good game. You did not call a good game. That's my take on the Steelers. I don't think it's like y'all are going to be down bad or anything. You will find a new head coach. You're going to get another quarterback up in there, give some competition to what's already there. You might go get another one, like a young guy. You're going to have a lot of quarterback competition this offseason. And I look forward to following the Steelers next year because it's going to be a team to watch.
All right, yeah. So we can start off with that game. I mean, I saw it from the beginning of the year. I saw it from the very beginning of the year before the season even started. When we first talked about the Steelers, I was looking at the roster and I said maybe we make the playoffs, but we are first round exits. I said that before anything ever started. Boy, I always want to be proven wrong every year, but I'm not. Ever. And I think that's why so many people are excited about Mike Tomlin leaving, is because the team was very predictable. The entire week leading up to this playoff game, I was telling my coworkers, I don't know if I told you, Eric, but I said we are going to get dog walked on offense. And that's exactly what happened. I even tweeted the morning of.
Oh, you got receipts.
I tweeted the morning of. Let's see, I have a lot of retweets from the free agency. Let's see. Mind you, right before the game ended, this is what I tweeted. Or I'll say, "Welp, I just won money betting against the Steelers."
Did you actually bet against the Steelers?
I did.
See,
$50,
what did I
$50.
tell you about the Panthers a while back? Hey, I'm a bet on the Panthers every time because either we're gonna win a Super Bowl and I'm gonna go broke, or I'm gonna become a millionaire. Either way, I'm gonna be the happiest person on earth.
Oh, one more tweet. This was the 11th, which was on Sunday, right? The 11th at 6:32 p.m. I said, "We are getting blown out tomorrow. ... I sure hope I'm wrong." And I wasn't wrong. And I will give credit to the defense. They didn't do anything to lose us that game. But one thing I did also mention at the beginning of the season is that our defense is old. And I said, the more we stay on the field, the less of an impact they're going to make. 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. Maybe a couple field goals. I think we only got, 2 field goals? But it's like 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. As soon as we got something going, either a penalty or DK Metcalf. Dude, let me tell you about DK Metcalf.
Dude, I saw a picture, bro, a little meme. You know that picture of him and AJ Brown, them just flexing?
Yeah.
It says something about I can't even remember the quote now, but it basically referred to them always dropping the ball. It's like these two dudes are gonna lose you the game or something like that.
Oh yeah.
And then I saw another one, and this can apply to DK Metcalf too. It showed a picture of AJ Brown, and it says, he said he guaranteed you he would always be open. He never said he would catch the ball.
That makes sense. But yeah, man, I feel like that drive that he, everyone knows what drop I'm talking about. That killed all. We had momentum, but that drop completely killed it. And I'm not saying we were going to win that game because either way, I mean, there was still a whole other game to go. Maybe we get an extra field goal. But but man,
But the
you're
momentum from that
paying
matters. It could
you
have changed the game.
but yeah, that's true, but I don't think it would have either way. That Texans defense just showed up way too like dude, I was watching that game. I was watching that game. No, matter of fact, I was watching the warm-ups and just how fast and explosive those guys are just warming up and like I was like, man, this is over. It's like just watching them warm up, it's over. I'm throwing in the towel. It's like, man, those guys, that's a young defense. That's a scary defense. And I felt in my chest that entire day leading up to the game. I felt something in my chest. It's like a feeling like you know something bad is gonna happen. I thought Aaron Rodgers was gonna freaking break his leg or something with how I was feeling. I thought something, really bad was gonna happen. A lot of bad happened. And I also had a feeling it was Mike Tomlin's last game as a head coach.
Yeah.
But regardless, I mean that was honestly the most predictable performance any Steelers fan could have seen coming. I mean, I saw too much optimism in that timeline from Steelers fans. And I'm like, are you guys serious? Like, if you guys not learned from maybe they haven't been a Steelers fan for as long as I have.
Yeah.
Maybe they just hopped on the wagon when Aaron Rodgers came over. But it's like I saw it coming from a mile away. I saw it coming from many years away. Like, I'm not surprised. I'm disappointed that I'm not surprised. I would have liked to be pleasantly surprised, at least for them to even at least get one touchdown with how many times they were in the red zone and how many turnovers we got. And, the defense, they did what they were supposed to do. I liked what I saw out of, Jack Sawyer forcing that fumble, Yahweh Black, and also Derek Harmon. Like, those guys are definitely, someone they're definitely a group of guys that I'm excited that they're on our team. I just hope that whoever comes next as a head coach will, help them build, a solid defense. There's still, a lot of young guys, but I feel like the old guys, Cam Hayward, I mean, I think he was ranked pretty high on the PFF grade this year. He did outstanding this year. But at the same time, I think it's time to move on. I think it's time to, I mean, Omar Khan and Mike Tomlin, they always do well when drafting defense, and I think with Derek Harmon and Black on that defensive end, I think they're set up pretty well for the future. I think it's time to let Cam Hayward go. T.J. Watt, if he still wants to play, fine, but honestly, I would consider trading him as well. Get him to a team that can win. Get the most out of him while you can. Because he honestly didn't show up this year either.
He was hurt too for a little bit. Nothing crazy, but
It was just like the last 2-3 weeks of the season. I mean, he just didn't show up. And I love TJ Watt especially. I wouldn't mind him being on the defense, but I also wouldn't mind us trading him. Especially if we want to start fresh. I mean, I think there's a lot that the Steelers need to do, but it's definitely doable within an off season or two. I definitely think so. And I hope you don't mind if I keep talking about the off season, at least what's happened so far. Um, one thing I do want to say about Mike Tomlin though is I'm very grateful. That he gave his all to Pittsburgh. He was the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers since I was 5 years old. So he's basically been my head coach my entire life, and I'm very, although the last few years haven't gone well and I've been very frustrated with him, I'm still very grateful, for all the things that he's done for the organization, for giving me those high, what do you call it? Those high pressured games. Because honestly, that's what makes football exciting. The intensity, the close games, and the wins in those tough games. Just watching him lead, maybe not schematically, but by example as a human, watching him and how he builds those relationships with those people in the locker room, it really, puts into a different perspective of like how you should be leading life as a man. Just showing appreciation and love to others. And Mike Tomlin was a great man for that, just from what I've seen and the relationship that he's built with, the players that have played for him. And it just says a lot about him when you
Mike
see
Tomlin's such a good guy that he would step in front of a running receiver for you,
that. Yeah. Yep. And live television.
and he'd be like, I didn't do that. I didn't see him coming.
Hey, that's what the rivalry's for.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm very grateful for the time that he had there, and I wish him nothing but the best, honestly. Although it was time to move on, still, was very and honestly, also to recap this year, this was probably the most fun I've had in the past 4 years watching the Steelers. Even though it ended the way that it did, but being able to see Aaron Rodgers in a Steelers uniform and seeing how his mind works, seeing how he can operate, that kind of offense. I mean, to be honest, he didn't have nearly anything to work with. And the fact that he's able to still win the division against a division full of the Ravens, Bengals, Browns, well, not the Browns, the
The
Ravens
Browns
and
are
the
the Browns.
Bengals. But just being able to see Aaron Rodgers play again, at least under the Steelers, it was very exciting just to finally have a quarterback play, that you can admire. So it was still exciting, although it wasn't, how I wanted it to go. Still very exciting year, and there's a lot of questions now. Now moving on from the season, now that's over. With Tomlin gone, there's a few candidates that I really do want the Steelers to go for. I'm pretty sure a lot of people want the Steelers to go for. One of them being Nate Shield. I don't know how to pronounce it. Shieldhas or something like that. He's the passing game coordinator for the Rams. Same thing with
Yeah.
Chris Shula, defensive coordinator. Um, and then one interesting one that popped up yesterday was Clay Kubiak,
Clay Kubiak?
the offensive coordinator for the 49ers. So
Okay.
they requested an interview with him. Brian Flores as well. He's a familiar face. He was the defensive coordinator, I think, back in 2021 or 2022. Very great defensive mind. One,
It's time for him to get another head coach shot too. It's time. I've been a fan of Brian Flores for a long time, and I've just been waiting for him to get another head coaching opportunity.
yeah, me too. But honestly, I wouldn't mind either of those, guys that I listed. There's other ones like Jesse Minter, but those are my top four. Um, I would honestly want to go for an offensive mind in either Nate Shieldhas or Clay Kubiak, mostly because, with the league that we're in right now, it's more offensive heavy. And I think it's easier to find defensive coordinators than it is offensive coordinators that can really develop a quarterback. One person I'm mostly interested in would probably be Clay Kubiak, mostly because he already has that experience of an offensive coordinator, and I would like Nate to have more experience than what he does. One thing that's interesting about Clay is that he's the one that actually put his input in drafting Brock Purdy. Um, and just the fact that you can see that kind of potential in a guy like Brock, who was literally Mr. Irrelevant, and turn him into the face. Well, not the face of the franchise. That's Christian McCaffrey, but the franchise quarterback. I mean, I'm still very high on the Will Howard train. I think Will Howard, I mean, he's worked with Ohio State. Ohio State's pretty good at developing quarterbacks. He has experience at Ohio State. He's won the Big 12 championship with Kansas State, I think. And then he also won the national championship with Ohio State. So I mean, he knows how to play in the playoffs. He knows how to play under pressure. I know NFL is a whole different level, but I mean, with how
Well,
this draft
when you go to
class,
a big school, I mean I was going to mention that too about Bryce Young. I mean it helps because a lot of those SEC schools and the Big Ten schools, their stadiums are bigger than NFL stadiums.
true,
Um,
true, true.
and so like even though it's a different game, college football and NFL, it's a different game.
Hmm.
Professional football and college. From a environment standpoint, it helps when you've been in those environments before. Young's played in national championships before, and he's played in the SEC. He went to Alabama, so it's like when you have guys that have been in those environment or been in those situations, played in environments like that before, it's a big plus because even if you have Will Howard, let's just use um, let's say Dylan Raiola, for example, if he came to the NFL and the Dylan Raiola has played in the Big Ten. He's played in front of Nebraska crowds and Ohio State crowds, whatever. But he's never played in like real big Big Ten or Big Ten or college football playoff games.
Mhm.
So Will Howard's going to have that experience over him because, buddy, I won a national championship. I played in big games at Ohio State, at
Mhm.
Michigan. So like the experience level in the high level college football world, the experience that translates from that is massive and can go a long way in terms of quarterback development.
Yeah. And so I'm seeing a lot of people comment saying that the people that want Will Howard are delusional, but like, who are you gonna get? Okay, I know a lot of people are saying Malik Willis would be a good person to pick up, and I think I wouldn't be opposed to that. But why not keep Will Howard, have them both compete, and see who you got? But at least
Yeah,
like
for
with
sure.
with
Just
with
competition.
exactly. So like with an offensive minded head coach that will be able to develop. I mean, I can see Will Howard being the franchise quarterback of the Steelers. Plus, worst case scenario, he does bad this year. You still got the 2027 draft that is loaded. It's loaded. And I mean, 2026, it would be different if a bunch of those quarterbacks were here this year, but a
Yeah.
bunch of them are staying because of that NIL money.
And Dante Moore removed his name from the draft
Hmm.
too, so he's
Same
going
with
back to
John
Oregon.
Mateer.
So he'll be there next year.
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of the names that people thought that were going to come into the draft this year, they're all staying. Arch Manning's staying, although it wasn't a it was never a guarantee that he was going to join this year's draft. Sam Levitt, I think he went to LSU.
Yep.
People thought he was going to enter the draft. John Mateer from Oklahoma,
Who I
he's
think is
staying
the
with
best
them.
quarterback.
Yeah, yeah. I remember I texted you earlier this year too. I was like, watch the name John Mateer.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
I
then
I fell in love with John Mateer. Pause. I like John Mateer. He is where Jackson Dart was for me. I believe that depending on what the class looks like next year, he might be that top quarterback in my opinion. Not everybody's going to put him there, but I will.
yeah. Same thing with Lenore Sellers. He's staying, I think, another year. So that draft class is going to be loaded. I don't see why you don't go with Will Howard. Go with a guy that can develop quarterbacks like Brock Purdy, and has that offensive mind. Because honestly, like when you learn from coaches like Sean McVay or Kyle Shanahan, you can kind of get away with not having an elite quarterback if you know how to call the right plays, if you know how to build plays around your playmakers like Christian
Mhm.
McCaffrey and George Kittle and Jawan Jennings. It's like with those offensive minds, they can help develop, but also not put that much pressure on them because of the play calling. And so that's why I personally feel like either Clay Kubiak or um, Nate Shieldhouse. I think those two are the guys that I would want to go for. I want someone who's been an offensive coordinator. I don't want someone, I mean, I wouldn't mind a defensive guy like Chris Shula because he's also worked with Sean McVay, so he could know what he wants in an offense. But I feel like if you want to compete in the NFL nowadays, if you want to properly develop your quarterback, you need stability when it comes to play calling and a playbook. And not just for one season, it has to be throughout many seasons.
Mhm.
And if you have a defensive coach and you find a good offensive coordinator, after one season, if they do really good, they're going to get offers somewhere else. So then you got to find another offensive coordinator. It's another system for your quarterback to learn. And so I feel like if you have that offensive minded, you know, head coach, they can keep the same schematics, the same kind of play calling for the quarterback for the future. That way he doesn't have to keep changing it up. You just find another defensive coordinator, that you think is going to be really good. There's a lot of them out there. Especially if you know how to draft right. There's players that can take over games. You don't really have to depend too much on schematics. But you really want someone that will be able to go score for score, because that's how it is nowadays. Back then, it was very defensive heavy. It wasn't that advanced. But now that it's advanced, it's time for a change. I think you need to go offensive minded here if you want to develop any quarterback, even if it's not right now, but in the future.
Yeah, now you got to score like 30 points to win games.
Yeah,
On
exactly.
a week to week basis, you got to score 30 points.
And then one final point that I have. I mean, there's a lot to say, especially with who I want to, the Steelers to pick up. But we'll go into that later on when we talk about free agency. But I will say that I think now is the best time for it to happen to the Steelers because you also have the Ravens and the Bengals or Browns who are looking for head coaches as well. So if Lamar Jackson really is the problem, I mean, I think with or without him, the Steelers have a chance to make the playoffs either way. Still, even while rebuilding, like you said, Eric earlier, there's teams that can rebuild and still make the playoffs. I think the AFC North is still a division that's up for grabs, especially with three new head coaches coming into the
Yeah.
division.
Yeah, and the Bengals possibly on the verge of a rebuild. The Browns are constantly doing Browns things, and the
Yep,
Ravens. The Ravens are in the same boat as the Bengals, maybe. And that you mentioned them having a new head coach, so that's what I said. I think they have a solid foundation, maybe in Pittsburgh. You're just a couple pieces away on defense. I think your offense needs a little bit of a revamp.
100%.
But you get the coach in there, and the rest of the division's kind of in shambles a little bit. So, why not the Steelers? I think the Steelers are in the best position in terms of in the division. If the Bengals don't bounce back, because the Bengals are, they're not rebuilding yet, but I think they're close. Just because it's not working. So it wouldn't surprise me if Zach Taylor's fired before the offseason really kicks off. It wouldn't surprise me if one of their top receivers gets traded out. But if none of that happens, then I think the Bengals are in the best spot
Yeah,
for
yeah,
now. But anything could happen, and I do think that the Bengals are close to blowing it up. And if anything like that happens, then that the Steelers are still in a very good spot because you do have a solid young core. Whereas if the Bengals blow it up, the Ravens aren't very young. The Browns are still kind of figuring out their foundation. They got a lot of young players, but who's going to be the foundational pieces to build off of?
hmm
So everybody in the division is kind of trying to figure stuff out. I think the Steelers have the most established um, pieces. So I
yeah.
think that they're definitely in the best spot in the NFC North or the
And then
AFC
one,
North. Sorry.
and then one thing I think I can confirm is that they are not hiring from within. So they're letting literally all of the staff, they're letting them walk. If they want to get interviews from other teams, they can get the interviews. I know our special teams coach, damn, I did forget his name. The one that chews the gum.
I don't know his
Oh, I
name.
forgot. Dude, how do I forget? But he got an interview with the Bucks today. But Arthur Smith, they did say that they weren't gonna promote internally for the head coaching position. So I think Arthur Smith is gone too, which is thankfully.
I hope so for your sake. I mean, that offense scheme is not good.
No, yeah, I think
Um,
I think he's gone.
well, speaking of adding pieces or whatever, let's talk about some free agency. So I will say these are not my official free agent predictions. We'll get into that later on in the offseason when free agency opens. However, I do have some targets, some targets that I think are solid fits for each team. We'll try to go through all 32 rather quickly. I want to talk about what we want to talk about, but we're going to go fast enough to where we can try to get all 32 teams in here.
Yeah.
Again, I put players on every team minus a few. There's a couple teams that just don't have the cap room, or they're in a pretty decent spot at certain positions. So some teams got more than others. And again, these are not my official free agency predictions of where players are going to end up. Some of these players might go back to their former teams. The players that I do think are returning to their teams, I have them on that list returning to their teams. So in terms of returns, players re-signing with their current teams, those are my actual predictions. However, the other names being thrown around, this is just like a what if, like what I think would be a nice fit, pretty cool.
Mhm.
Um, Little addition based off of need. Some teams I dove deeper into in terms of real need at each position. Some teams I was just like, yeah, this could work. Um, So I'm just going to list off the team. I'm going to tell you the team. I'm going to list off the guys I have them bringing in, and then if you have thoughts, you can give them. If you have um, a guy that you think would work better, you can say, "Hey, I think instead of this person, this might be a better fit." If you don't have anything, we'll just move on to
Okay.
the next team. So first off, we're going in alphabetical order. So it's the Cardinals. Um, I have them bringing back Jonah Williams at on the offensive line. Had a pretty solid year. Kenneth Murray, I like the Cardinals pass rush. It's pretty young, I believe. Um, and I just think it's a solid front, but the linebacker core could use a little bit, and I think Kenneth Murray would be a good fit from the Chargers. He's still young. He'll be a cheap-ish option. I'm thinking like around 10 million maybe a year. Um, so he'll still be a cheaper option, and he's young and he's talented. So I think he'll be a good fit. And then Marcus Mariota is a big one for me to the Cardinals because it brings some competition into that room, some real competition into that room. Mariota's bounced around the league a little bit, but he's played meaningful snaps in places like Washington and Atlanta. So I think it bring in some kind of competition for Kyler Murray. If you're not going to commit to letting him go just yet, if you're not going to go to the draft, I think you bring in Marcus Mariota and give Kyler Murray some competition.
Yeah, Marcus Mariota. That's actually I never thought about that one. I feel like the Cardinals they always pick up these bridge quarterbacks. They never
Yeah,
really pick up a starting quarterback ever since Kyler Murray. I feel like if I were the Cardinals, I'd probably go for Daniel Jones. I mean, what you gotta lose?
I'll get to him eventually too. I'll get to him eventually too.
Who else is a free agent? Quarterback position. Could also go Malik Willis, although I don't think he'd want to end up there.
He does want to go somewhere where he's going to start.
Okay, so he might want to go there.
He did say that, or it came out that he wants to go somewhere where he wants to pursue his starting role. Whether he actually said that or not, I don't know, but it did come out that that's apparently his feelings, and he wants to go somewhere where he's going to have a chance to play and be the guy. Um, So I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if he wants to go to a situation like Arizona where he's going to have to earn it, or where he's going to have to fight for that spot where there's already an established starter and they're just bringing in some competition for him. Um, but he does want to go somewhere where he's going to play. And if they want to possibly look at other options than Kyler Murray, that might be a good one too. Atlanta Falcons. Here's some ones. Let me tell you, they need pass rush. They need to get younger on the defensive line,
Mhm.
and I had them going with DJ Wanham, who is now leaving the Carolina Panthers as of right now, and he's still young. I think he's like 28 years old. When we brought him in, he was around the same production and younger than Brian Burns. So I felt like it was a good option for us. He didn't really produce that much. He's been hurt a little bit, but I think it adds a little bit extra to the defensive front for Atlanta if he can stay healthy. I also have them Taysom Hill to the Falcons within the division.
The Falcons.
Utility player to add to the offense, brings versatility. Um, could be a solid fit. Could be a solid fit there. And Darius Slay, get some veteran leadership in the corner or at corner and secondary. Um, get a veteran guy. You got a lot of young, talented corners that just need an extra. If Darius Slay can come in, stay on the field, be healthy, he could be a solid veteran option. I feel like for
I have a lot of bias towards Darius Slay. Negative bias.
yeah, I know you don't like Darius Slay.
I hate that guy. Darius Slay. You think he comes back?
Maybe some of these guys on this list, it's possible they could retire.
Oh, the way I seen him moving, I think he's done. I think
Very well could
he's
be.
done.
Very well could be.
'Cause,
But again, it's just veteran leadership. If you in Atlanta, there's a lot of young, talented corners. Some not talented, but that's beside the point. You got some young, talented corners. Bring in Darius Slade to just kind of help lead them along, even if it's on a 1 year deal.
Who did you say needed pass rushers again?
Oh, the Falcons.
Falcons.
Yeah, the Falcons need a pass rush.
Who else needs a pass rush? Because the other interesting name is well, no, he wouldn't go with the Falcons if they're rebuilding. Trey Hendrickson. I'm trying to wonder where he's gonna go.
I have him on here.
Where do you have? Where do you have him? Where do you have? Oh, you're going in order. All right, we'll
Yeah,
get to him.
I'm going to alphabetical order.
We'll get to him. There's a lot of interesting names here.
There's some big names in this free agency. I will say that. Um, here you go, Baltimore Ravens.
Hmm.
I have them bringing back Tyler Linderbaum to solidify the center position. I think that's a big one. He's a big name for a lot of teams, but I think the Ravens are making that a priority to bring him back. Here's the next one: Deebo Samuel to the Ravens. Again, did a lot for Washington this year. Excuse me. Adds versatility, just like Taysom Hill with Atlanta. I feel like Deebo Samuel adds a lot of versatility to that offense. An offense that loves to get a lot of different guys involved in a lot of different ways. Now, how that's going to look when John Harbaugh gone, I don't know. But I feel like versatility-wise, Deebo Samuel could be a good fit in Baltimore.
I wish. What cap space does Baltimore have?
Like upwards of 35 to 40 million in cap space. I believe they have the most in the NFL.
Really?
Yeah,
Well, that's all gonna go down soon because
they. I
they
feel
gotta
like
pay
they're gonna
some
have
people.
a big off season
Cap space right now. The Ravens are ranked
for 2026.
2026. They have total cap space 285 million. Oh no, cap space 28,509,560.
And cap space goes up like every year. Cap goes up like every year, so I expect that to go up.
Mike Tomlin might have been up to something this year because that cap space for the Steelers was looking good too.
Yeah,
65 million
I have I have
434,000.
I have Pittsburgh with a pretty big offseason too. Here's a big one for you: the Buffalo Bills. First off, linebacker Caden Ellis, Falcons linebacker, big time playmaker. I think the Bills need to bolster that defense a little bit. I think Caden Ellis might be a good option. Here's a big one. Here's my first bombshell. Who's that receiver everybody's talking about from Indiana? Alec Pierce. How about to the Bills? Alec Pierce to the Bills. And I'm gonna keep on going. You stop me if you want to talk about anything.
Okay. Well, the other thing is, friggin' the Bills are a negative in cap space.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of cap space, but again, they have guys leaving. The cap goes up just about every year, so I expect them to have some room. And again, these are not my official predictions. This is just stuff that could fit, and I feel like
Uh-huh.
Buffalo needs a playmaker at receiver. So that's why I had Alec Pierce going there, and they are losing Matt Milano, so Caden Ellis would fit right in there. Next up, my Carolina Panthers. I see a big offseason coming for the Panthers, especially after what Dan Morgan said in his press conference. First up, we have a big need at linebacker. Now, I had two options here for the Panthers. One of them, I believe, is getting ready to retire, so I'm not even going to mention him. Devin Lloyd from the Jaguars. Big playmaker, fit right into that linebacker hole. Tight end is a need. Kyle Pitts. We have all the blocking at tight end that we need. We need a pass catcher at the tight end position. I think Kyle Pitts fits right in. And, played in the division his whole career. Players like to stay within the same division, so I could very much see Kyle Pitts coming to the Panthers.
Well, could you see Isaiah Likely going to the Panthers?
It's another option. I considered that. But I also think it's very possible that he may go back to Baltimore.
He's gonna ask for a lot of money. And they just re-signed Mark Andrews.
That's true. I also have my first of two trades. I have Max Crosby getting traded to the Panthers. Remember when you asked me about pass rush?
Uh-huh.
Who I thought where I thought the Panthers would go in terms of pass rush? I think we trade for Max Crosby. We desperately need pass rush, and Nick Scorton is going to be a dog off the edge eventually in his career. You put Max Crosby on the other side, force the double team. Who are you going to double team? Derek Brown or Max Crosby? And then you have Nick Scorton on the other side, a young and upcoming pass rusher who played phenomenal down the stretch, especially against the run. Chicago Bears, Sheldon Rankins, Bills, veteran defensive lineman, been around. That team wants some veteran experience. I think this is where we're going here. They keep Kevin Byard, and they bring in Jamel Dean from the Bears to play corner. They want to add some veteran leadership to a young team I think that's the 3 routes they go. Be solid additions. Here's the Bengals. They get some pass rush. They're losing Trey Hendrickson. They bring in Danico Autry. They bring back Geno Stone at safety and Jalen Watson at corner from the Chiefs. And that would be a huge addition to that secondary because that secondary is bad. That secondary is
Terrible.
bad this year. So yeah, I think they do bring back Geno Stone. They bring in Jalen Watson from the Chiefs. Russell Wilson.
For the Browns.
Russell Wilson. Next, here's my next bombshell. Brandon Ayuk. You want
You think
speed?
Niners would pay most of his contract to let him go? I can see that.
Yeah, because he's done in San Fran. He's not playing for the 49ers ever
100%.
again.
100%.
I think Cleveland's where he ends up. Dallas, pretty cut and dry. Not really going to spend much time on him. They bring back Javonte Williams. He was huge for him this year in the run game. And Jadeveon Clowney. They bring him back as well.
I know you mentioned Russell Wilson to Cleveland, but I could see Russ going to 2 different teams.
Okay.
I can see him going to the Cardinals.
It's another option, yeah.
And I can also see him going to the Colts.
A couple of veteran quarterbacks have went there at the end of their career in the last few years. Looking at you, Matt Ryan and Phillip Rivers. Twice.
I feel like he would sit behind Anthony Richardson, though. Unless they draft another quarterback or sign another quarterback.
You really don't think I almost said Indiana Jones. You don't think what's his name?
Daniel Jones.
I kept wanting to say Indiana Jones, dude. You don't think Daniel Jones goes back for real?
I mean, he's still going to be a lot of money. If you want someone with experience to sit behind. Because if you think about it, Anthony Richardson, they still have what, his third year option?
I think so, yeah.
3rd or 4th year? I think it's going to be his 3rd.
Well, next year will be his 4th.
Next year will be his 4th. Okay. So I think they still have the 4th year option. They could just pick it up and that make it kind of like a prove it year or whatever. But then they will also won't have to pay Russell Wilson that much either because he hasn't proven shiz. Then, right now they have $41 million in cap space, and they might as well build around. And if they have to, they can just go ahead and snag a quarterback next draft.
I have a pretty solid haul, not a lot, but a pretty solid haul in free agency for the Colts too. Because, they're gonna spend that money.
Yeah, for sure.
They're gonna spend that money.
I just don't think it's gonna be on a quarterback, which is why I can see Russell Wilson going there.
Denver, pretty big free agency for him. They bring back tight end Adam Trautman. They bring back J.K. Dobbins. They bring in linebacker Alex Anzalone and receiver Christian Kirk.
It's reminding me of you ever seen have you seen the memes or like the Stephen A. Smith's what do you call it? He accidentally called him Charlie Kirk.
Oh yeah.
Dude, that was hilarious.
I might have done that too by accident if I didn't have it written down.
Dude, it was hilarious, bro. And then they just have Charlie Kirk's face on the body while making highlight plays. Yeah, social media is funny.
Yeah, man.
So you think Christian Kirk goes back to Denver? You said?
Yeah, Denver.
Okay.
He's in Houston right now. He made his money in Arizona. I think he goes, gets him some solid quarterback play, and becomes a real that receiving corps will become pretty nasty. Pretty nasty. Detroit, not a huge free agency. Amik Robinson, DJ Reader, trying to shore up that defense. But here's my next bombshell. My second of 2 trades. Myles Garrett
To Detroit?
To opposite Aiden Hutchinson and might just become the best pass rush in the NFL.
Damn,
because
that contract.
The contract is crazy. But that's something you do. You pull the trigger on, go full buyout because you're not. I don't have them attacking a lot. You're not spending a lot of money, not too much money in free agency. You go make that move, full buyout. We got the contract. You go get him, and you have him opposite Aiden Hutchinson, and it'll be the same thing as Carolina with Max Crosby. Who are you going to double team? Somebody's coming free. If you double team both, you're leaving the middle open. Who are you going to double team? Myles Garrett or Aiden Hutchinson? Makes too much sense to me. I don't think Cleveland gave him that contract just to move on from him, but let's be honest, Myles Garrett wants to win, dude. His career's on the back, and he's in the back half of his career. He wants to win. Respect him enough to send him somewhere where he has a chance to win.
I have a question about the Lions. Is David Montgomery a free agent, or does he still have another year in his contract?
I'm not sure. I think he still has another year, but he might be a free agent. I saw something about David Montgomery. I don't remember what it was though.
3-year, $18 million deal in March 2023. So he still has another.
So yeah, another year.
Sending him for another 2 years, keeping him under contract through the 27 season.
Well, it's a 2.
How old is he?
He's kind of old. Or like 30.
He's 28.
Wow, he's younger than I thought he was. What? To Pittsburgh? Is that why you're giving me that look? Is that why you're giving me that look, dude?
We got the cap space. We got TJ Watt. Maybe TJ Watt might go to Detroit instead of Myles Garrett.
Because I'll skip down a few because there's another running back here that I have going to Jacksonville, but I could also see going to Pittsburgh and taking Jalen Warren's job.
Don't tell me on Brees Hall.
Jacksonville Jaguars. You have John Franklin Myers, defensive front, safety Kyle Duggar, ripped to Pitt.
That's that dog, man. He stepped up huge when he first got in.
And running back Rico Dowdle.
Dowdle, that's who I was thinking of too.
I think he could go to Pittsburgh. That's a possibility.
How old is he?
Young, dude. Like 28, 27, 28. Which is kind of old for a running back, but not really.
27? He's only a year younger than Montgomery. Okay.
See him going to Pittsburgh, but I have him, for the sake of this, going to Jacksonville. Green Bay, not really doing much. They don't really have a lot of cap space. I think they might be negative right now. But I do have them bringing in Khalif Raymond. Houston, how about Najee Harris? And get him some line help. Ted Karras, one of the best guards, center, whatever, in football. And then Marquise Brown. If you're losing Christian Kirk, I feel need at receiver is here, and especially with Nico Collins being kind of injury prone at this point. Marquise Brown. I could also see Marquise Brown to the Panthers because they have voiced the want for, quote, a guy who can a receiver who can take a 5-yard reception and take it to the house. So I could see Marquise Brown to the Panthers as well, but for this, I have him going to Houston. Now the Colts. Here's where they spend their money. Quincy Williams, Greg Newsome, corner, and Daniel Jones. If you're Daniel Jones, it only makes sense to go back to Indianapolis. You're coming off of an injury, for one. You might as well stay with a system that you know and a team that trusts you. Coming off of a very bad injury. So be smart. Stay where you are. And for the team, stay with the quarterback that you trust. We already talked about Jacksonville. Kansas City, big offseason for the Chiefs here. And I think they bring in some dogs. Absolute dogs. Defensive line, Christian Wilkins. Tight end to replace Travis Kelce, Tyler Higbee from the Rams. Wide receiver, Mike Evans. Bring veteran leadership to that receiver room. Running back. Brandon's going to hate that I said that because he thinks that he thinks the Seahawks are going to bring back all their pieces, and I just don't see it happening. Kenneth Walker to the Chiefs to kind of 1-2 Isaiah Pacheco.
I would just stop watching football at that point.
Yeah, but I see it. That's a possibility, dude. It's a possibility. They're angry with how their season went. Like, it's a real possibility. Las Vegas. Who's going to play quarterback for him? I say you bring in Zach Wilson. Draft you a quarterback, bring in Zach Wilson as a backup. Damani Brown?
Oh, dude, that would set them up for failure, though.
What?
Zach Wilson and drafting a quarterback? I think they need a good veteran.
Yeah, I mean, but at this point, Zach Wilson's been around. He's been a part of different schemes. He does have some experience to him. Not good experience, but some experience. He can kind of tell that rookie quarterback who, let's be honest, is probably going to be Mendoza. You can tell him exactly what the suck of being a rookie quarterback in the NFL feels like. Damani Brown, get a weapon for him. I'm a Tar Heel guy. Tar Heel. Born and bred right here, Damani Brown. I'm a believer. Not too many opportunities to shine in Jacksonville. I think he's out of there. And he goes to Raiders. And then corner Eric Stokes. And then, I had a third trade on here. I didn't even realize. Chris Godwin,
To who?
the Raiders. I think Tampa trades him, and yeah, you get Damani Brown, Chris Godwin, and a rookie quarterback, versatile Damani Brown, veteran Chris Godwin, and then you have Brock Bowers there still too, with Ashton Denty in the backfield.
You know who else I can see going to the Raiders? Trey Lance.
Excuse me, possible. That's a good one.
Or Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz is another good one that could end up there. Not a good one in terms of production, but
Solid.
good pool.
Veteran.
Possibility. The Chargers, I don't have them doing too much, but I have them bringing back Khalil Mack and Isaac Somalu. How do you say his name? He's a Steeler, I think.
Isaac Seumalo?
Yeah, I think he goes to LA. The Chargers.
Dude, after I seen him get run over on the freaking playoffs, yeah, he can go. He can go. Dude. And also, he's had a lot of like pec injuries throughout the season.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can walk. Give me someone in the draft.
The Rams, I don't really have them doing too much. They're bringing some guys back: Akola Witherspoon, Tutu Atwell, Kyron Williams. Same thing with the Dolphins: Jack Jones, Darren Waller, Benito Jones, coming back. The Vikings, James Redmond up front, Daniel Wilson, I think comes back. Here's a couple big ones: Asante Samuel, Travis Etienne. What?
Nah, the Steelers gotta keep Asante.
I don't know. Did he even ever get on the field? Isn't he still hurt?
He was in the rotation. They were kind of like easing him back in.
Yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting one.
We'll see.
But Travis Etienne to the Vikings.
Travis Etienne. I can see that.
The Patriots, I think they solidify that offensive line. Braden Smith, get the best offensive lineman available in free agency, and get some edge presence with Malcolm Kuntz.
Patriots are solid, man.
Yeah, they're only going to get better. The New Orleans Saints, I think they have a big free agency. They bring back Cam Jordan, solidify the defensive front with Taquan Jones. They bring in Romeo Doubs from the Packers to give him an extra receiver, and they bring in one of the best offensive linemen to ever do it if he doesn't retire, Joe Bitonio.
What's going on with Kamara? I haven't heard his name in a minute.
He's been hurt. When he's on the field, he's not really doing too much. He's been really quiet. Welcome to the NFC South, boy. On the NFC South.
I ain't heard shiz about him.
Yeah, I don't know. Just down a couple years, I guess. New York Giants, Alex Singleton, big time linebacker there for him. Rob Heavenstein, I hope I said his name right. Give him some offensive line presence. Losing Evan Neal too. That's going to be big for him. And safety, Lloyd Gilman, back in defensive help. New York Jets, excuse me. Speaking of Evan Neal, I have him going to the New York Jets. Then I have Reek Woolen from the Seahawks going to the Jets as well, and I have them bringing back Breece Hall. Philly, they don't really have much cap room. I have them bringing back Dallas Goedert, and that's about it. And, oh, man, your Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback, Malik Willis. Defensive line, Tierra Tart, and safety Cameron Curl from the Rams. The rest will be addressed during the draft.
You know who would be a good acquisition for the Steelers? Romeo Doubs.
Another one I can see, yeah.
And Wan'Dale Robinson.
Wan'Dale Robinson would be a good one.
Man, this head coach position, like, this is the biggest decision that'll really make or break this franchise.
Yeah. You just got to get the guy. You got all the pieces, all the tools. You just got to get the head coach. 49ers, I had them doing one thing, and that's bringing back Juwan Jennings. That's it. The Seahawks. Here's where these last four teams is going to get a little bit crazy. Okay? Seahawks, I have them bringing back Rashid Shaheed. I don't think you give up as much as the Seahawks gave up for him just to let him walk in free agency. They're going to bring him back. Wyatt Teller, interior offensive line, and then edge Joey Bosa. Joey Bosa to Seattle.
The Bosa's in the same division?
Yeah, exactly. That was
crazy.
That was one of my thought processes when I was trying to figure out where's Joey Bosa going to go. Tampa Bay, they're losing Lavonte David. I think they go out, get a divisional foe, Demario Davis, to replace him. They have a need at tight end. I think they go Austin Hooper, and then they want to upgrade that edge rush, that pass rush as well off the edge. Leonard Floyd. As much as I hate on the Bucks, I'm giving you a pathway right here to remain relevant. Leonard Floyd, Demario Davis, keep that defense strong. Tennessee, I have them going after edge Samson Abukum, big time playmaker. Linebacker Matt Milano from the Bills and corner Jonathan Jones in Washington. This is the biggest one I have. The last team, and it just so happens to be the biggest one. You ready for this? I'm about to drop some massive bombshells on you right now. They bring back Bobby Wagner at linebacker. Then they bring in a receiving threat. They're losing Deebo Samuel. You want to take a guess of what receiver I have them bringing in?
Sean, what's his name? No, DeAndre Hopkins.
I think he's done.
You think so?
He could go back to Houston. I thought I entertained the idea in my head. Maybe he goes back and retires a Texan.
No, I don't want to think he wants to catch balls from CJ Stroud.
I don't think he's going to do that. George Pickens.
Pickens? Damn, man.
I think he stays in the division, and yeah.
You don't think the Cowboys require him? Jerry Jones wouldn't let him go.
He also don't pay his players.
Yeah, that's true.
And CeeDee Lamb already got the bag. I don't think he does it again. And the next one, last but definitely not least, they need some pass rush, dude. Trey Hendrickson.
I can see that.
You give Jaden Daniels a weapon like George Pickens, and then you get Trey Hendrickson in there on defense. You might be talking about what I was talking about at the beginning of the year, when I predicted Washington to win the division. And this time, you might get past the NFC Championship.
Yeah, that'd be insane. Is Von Miller done?
He's a free agent.
You think he goes back to the Bills to end it off? Or the Broncos?
I thought I had him going somewhere, but I guess I didn't put him on the list.
Wait, the Bills play the Broncos, right?
Yeah. That's crazy.
Von Miller playing against his OG team.
Yeah, that's crazy.
He still moves good, too.
Yeah, still. But remember, you heard it here first. Trey Hendrickson to Washington. Max Crosby traded to the Panthers. Myles Garrett traded to the Lions. Chris Godwin traded to the Raiders. George Pickens to the Commanders.
Dude, this is probably going to be one of the craziest off seasons ever.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All these new head coaches.
Dude, the coaching carousel is absolutely insane. I covered that the other day, too. Who I thought were the top candidates for each one. Now we've had the Steelers open up and the Ravens open up since then.
Who do you think would be a top coaching candidate for the Steelers?
Brian Flores.
Brian Flores?
Yeah, familiarity with the organization. And I just feel like the Steelers are going to go defensive mind.
I think so, too.
No matter what I feel like they should do, I feel like they'll go defense. Because just looking back on it, I just feel like that's always been the pride of Pittsburgh is defense.
Especially the division itself.
Yeah, so I feel like they go defensive-minded head coach. Which I'm kind of with you. I feel like they should go offensive mind. With the way today's game is, I feel like the best offenses are built around what their players do best. Like you said that the playbook, everything needs to be established and stay the same. You want some familiarity. You want everything to stay the same each year. But I think the playbook should change every year. Because I think your scheme should be built solely around what your players do best. Constantly evaluate what you're doing, what's working, what's not working. If it's something that your quarterback is not capable of, or if it's a route combination that your receivers aren't good at, don't run it. Take it out. Find something that they do well and replace it. And so I feel like defense is pretty self-explanatory. The Seahawks do a great job at showing this. Seahawks really just run a shell defense. They cover deep and they stay disciplined enough to come up and make the play. They give up the underneath stuff and they get downfield and make the tackle. That's what they do. They cover everything. They take off the back end. They don't allow you to get behind them, and they come up and they make the play when you feed it short, because that's what they're forcing you to take the underneath stuff. And they go out and get players that are capable of making those plays. That's why their defense is so good. It's a shell defense, it's a cheat code defense, but if you have the right pieces on offense, you can beat it. It's not unstoppable. Defense is pretty self-explanatory. You can run that all you want to. As long as you have the right playmakers, you don't have to adjust that scheme.
Right.
Offensively, players rosters change everything. One year you have more playmakers than you do the other, like the year before. You have less playmakers than you did the week before. Whatever. I feel like your offensive scheme should be built on who you have on game day. If you have your number one receiver out and your number 5 receiver is stepping into that number 4 role and everybody's sliding up the depth chart and your receiver 2 is now your number 1, you need to have a schematic
Mhm.
approach built around your wide receiver 2 being the primary target.
Right, right.
You need to have a schematic approach to feeding your running back, finding ways to get your if you're the 49ers, you need to have ways in the back pocket to get Christian McCaffrey out in space.
Mhm.
You need to have um if you're the Eagles, you need to have ways to utilize Jalen Hurts in the run game. If you're the Panthers, you need to find ways for Rico Dowdle to get the carries that he needs to get going, not just bash him into the line of scrimmage and hope he falls forward and picks up a yard. No, find the ways to get him in between the tackles. Find ways to get Chuba Hubbard out wide in space, let him make a couple of guys miss. Find ways to get Jimmy Horn behind the defense, Xavier Legette behind the defense. Stop making them go run all these other like in breaking routes, out breaking routes, covered up by linebackers, all that extra stuff. Stop making them do that. They're not built for that. Those are
Right.
guys that you want stretching the field, getting behind the defense. You need to have a schematic approach to elevate everything that your players do good. Stop forcing them to do stuff. You can't just build a playbook, build a scheme, and then expect players to do it.
Mhm.
You have to play to their strengths. And that's what I like about Dave Canales. He preaches to the team all the time. This is your team. It's not my team, it's your team. It's a player led team. And the scheme is built around the players. It's what Bryce does best. That's the pass game. I'm not gonna force you to make a throw 15 yards down the field and toward the sideline if you're better at 10 yards down the field toward the logo.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So, and I feel like every offensive playbooks, offensive schemes should be changing every year. You have one guy, Arthur Smith, for example, that dude's been running the same
Oh,
offense since he
fuck.
arrived in Atlanta.
Yeah. But since the Titans.
Yeah. You've been running the same offensive style, offensive approach since, well, your whole career. And it's done nothing for you. It's
Yeah.
time to change. You were running the same offense with a 40 some odd year old Aaron Rodgers that you were running with Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill and Aaron Rodgers, two very different quarterbacks. You need to evolve. Do feed into what Aaron Rodgers does best, and that's where I was going with that. Is I'm with you. There needs to be some familiarity, but the scheme, in my opinion, does need to change every year.
No, yeah, I agree with that. By familiarity, I meant like you said, like the like if it's an offensive minded head coach, like he'll be able to pick who he wants on offense
Oh,
because
I'm
he'll
sorry to
know
cut
what.
you off, but that whole thing that I just explained, I was saying that to say that if if you get an offensive minded quarter or a coordinator in there, or shoot, I'm tired, leave me alone. If you get an offensive minded head coach in there, he can build a scheme around what that young quarterback does well,
Mhm.
and then because whoever it might be, whether it be Will Howard, somebody from the draft, Malik Willis, who is still technically a young player, he hasn't had too many playing opportunities. Whoever it is, you have a young quarterback, you can come in and build a scheme that young quarter that feeds into that young quarterback's strengths,
Mhm.
and then later on you can add in the harder stuff.
Yeah.
You can't just come in and force the kid to do something that he's never done before. You have to ease him into it, start him off with something that you know he's good at.
Mhm.
But go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it was basically that, and like he can also pick the players around him who would better fit like the new scheme if he wants to change it.
Yeah. Mhm.
You know, um, and also like like you said, the strengths of the quarterback. Like he can actually pick the players himself. So I think offensive minded is a huge thing. As far as defense, I mean, I feel like it's easier. It's pretty easy to pick who you want on defense. A defensive coordinator will be able to help with that a lot easier than he will, if he's a defensive minded head coach and they try to fit the right pieces in the offense.
Yeah. And you look at the successful young head coaches too. They're all offensive minds.
Mhm. Yeah,
Most recently, Dave Canales and Liam Cohen, Ben Johnson, all previous offensive coordinators. Man, this was fun. I enjoyed it.
same. Now I'm pretty much got most of the things out that I wanted to say about this whole week. A lot's happened, but it's always fun to talk about.
Yeah,
I'm
for
excited
sure.
to see what else happens, especially like as the teams in the playoffs get eliminated, what changes they want to make, and then also I'm really curious to see how the interviews go with the head coaches and everything. Where Mike McDaniel ends up. I hear that he might end up with the Ravens and even the
There was some
Titans,
rumblings that he might take the OC job in Tampa.
Tampa. Yeah, that too. That would be that would keep them
Yeah,
in it. That would
yeah,
keep them in it for sure.
yeah. Some people were saying, "Oh, Dave Canales needs to relinquish play calling duties and go get Mike McDaniel." I don't really want Mike McDaniel here, brother.
Nah, you need a
Um,
better defensive coordinator. That's for sure.
and since you brought that up, actually, I've been torn on it all year. I think Ajuro Evero should stay, and he is staying. But I think he's honestly his defense, the scheme is actually really good. It's
Hmm.
just so heavily reliant on pass rush, and we have not had a pass rush.
Yeah.
If we could just get a pass rush, people would see what I'm saying. Like that scheme is actually really good, and you could see it in the back half of the defense. The secondary's been playing really well, which is surprising to me, and I'm so thankful for it because for the last 5-6 years we've had a terrible secondary. This year our secondary is actually pretty good. If we could just get a pass rush, you would really start to see that scheme be what it is.
Uh-huh.
That's why Ajero Evero was so heavily sought after for these head coach jobs, um, whatever. And I'm so glad he stayed committed to us because that scheme is just really good. It's actually really good. It's just really reliant on pass rush, the ability to get to the quarterback. Because what it does is that scheme gives the quarterback time in the pocket. It's kind of, it gives them the middle. It
Uh-huh.
gives them the quick stuff. It's kind of just taking away like the routes that take longer to develop. Um, so you have to get to the quarterback because if you don't get to the quarterback, he's gonna find something kind of over the middle or in the flat, something quick that he can get out of his hand. So you
Uh-huh.
have to be able to get to the quarterback um, for this scheme to work. So like
Right.
I'm okay with EJ. The more I thought about it, and the more I kind of sat back and looked at different things, I think he's really good. I'm glad we have like a set defensive coordinator, um, and I'm glad that the young guys that are here are growing into this kind of scheme because it's actually harder, in my opinion, because as a safety, you're being taught to play back, be disciplined enough to come up and make a play. As a edge rusher, you are being taught to get to the quarterback faster.
Uh-huh.
You can already get to the quarterback fast. You can get to the quarterback in 3 seconds. Cool. Get there in 1.6. Burst off the line. Beat Matt Stafford to the flat. Set the edge. Get to the quarterback. Do it faster. And so, like, I'm glad that the young guys are learning in this type of scheme because it's not just like your standard, like, and it's very, it forces players to be versatile too because you have guys like Derrick Brown who are big bodies built, in the middle,
Uh-huh.
stopping the run, who has now been at times moved outside to the edge as well. So it's like there's pieces being moved around, and I think it's really good. And I like EJ. I like the confidence too. That final drive in I'll just say the game in general against the Rams. Um, we were blitzing the mess out of Matt Stafford, and I loved it. If we just had a better pass rush and we could have gotten home more, I feel like we win that game for sure. Um, and that's just again the scheme is so heavily reliant on the pass rush that if we could just get pass rushers up in the building, dude. Now again, I think Nick Scorton will be a dog. That's why I say we go trade for Max Crosby. We get the pass rush in here. We force double teams on Max to let Nick Scorton come free or let Derek Brown come free because they're not just going to leave Derek Brown alone, so they might just double team him, and that leaves both edge rushers free. And then you're really going to see this scheme come to life. So I'm actually a big fan of EJ. I was kind of starting to shake my head a little bit earlier on in the season, because I was like, why are we leaving the flats open? Like the Packers game specifically, and a couple games after that, it was like they just kept on throwing it to the flats. It's like, bro, just stick somebody over there, like just cover it. Then I like here now looking back on it, it's like that's just the scheme. The defense is built to get after the quarterback. We're going to give up the quick throw. We're gonna give up the easy stuff. So, and then it's starting to make more sense. So like now looking back on it, I'm happy he's here, honestly, because I wouldn't take another scheme. I love it. I love it. I want to rush the quarterback and pick the ball off, and that's what this scheme is built to do. So I don't think we need a new defensive coordinator. We just need a pass rush for sure. I didn't mean to ramble, but I
Oh no,
was
you're
just
good.
going
Yeah,
off what you said.
yeah.
But yeah, I guess those would be my closing thoughts. But always a pleasure talking football with you. We got so much stuff planned in the off season. Free agency, draft. I want to do a live draft show. Speaking of which, while we're on the air, um, I want to mention something. This goes out to all the people that do watch. I know we're new. Not a lot of people know who we are, and that's fine. Everybody starts somewhere, and I'm doing this because this is fun. I don't know why. I don't really know why Nate's doing it, but I do this because I love football and I love talking about football, and I like sharing my thoughts and my love for the game with everybody else. Um, whether this becomes a big thing or not, I'm still going to be right here recording because it's just something I like to do, and that's perfectly fine with me. I had there was a controversial conversation happening, and um, I hope I can find it so I can read it word for word. Side note, there was this post talking about the Panthers losing, and I commented on it and said, when do the Bucks play? Oh, wait, keep pounding. Same people saying as expected. That's what it was because they said as expected and posted the final score.
Mm.
Said same people saying as expected are the same ones saying we didn't stand a chance last time I checked. We had a lead until the 40-second mark, and then the Bucks fans just erupted. Like they erupted on me. They were trying to jump me, and it just wasn't working. I think they were getting even more mad that I was just hitting them with facts. They would say something, and I would just come right back at them with something else. But there was like 6 different people. And then there was this other video of a Rams fan waving a belt around and saying, I told you, I told you. I commented on it. I was like, put the belt away. You barely escaped. And then Bucks fans were yelling at me on there. I'm like, bro, y'all are stupid. Y'all are so dumb, dude. Where is this one, though? Here we go. So I had engaged in a controversial conversation. I'm not going to bring it up on the podcast. But I basically said people didn't have the brain power to go for. I said, you have the brain power to find this stat, but you don't have the brain capacity to find this stat. If we're going to talk about it, let's talk about all of it. And then this random person, I'm not going to give you the shout out because you don't deserve it. Forget you. This random person says, and I quote, to me, And you have the lack of brain power to think you'll ever be anyone. You have 170 Facebook friends and started a podcast with 2 listeners. Seems like people really give up what you think. Anyone that reads this, go to his page, listen to the first thing on his feed is actually him trying to do a podcast. Dude is clearly not well, LOL. Seriously, go listen. And so when I first read that, I was like, is this guy serious? Like, he went on my page and stalked my Facebook to find something to talk about, try and find a way to insult me because what he said the first time was completely irrelevant. He made himself look like an idiot. So I'm trying to find my response because apparently it didn't pop up there. What I eventually did is I screenshotted our views on YouTube. One of the videos had gotten 1,000 views and I posted it in a comment. So I was like, oh, 2 viewers, gotcha. Side note, I have 170 friends on Facebook because I dealt with some crazy people and I had to make new social media accounts.
Mm.
There's reasons for everything, and I just love how when people like see something, they automatically assume certain things, and it's just like, brother, what are you talking about? Just stop talking. Where is this? I think maybe they might have taken it down, which of course mine would be the one that got taken down. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. That's kind of aggravating. Anyway, basically I went on to tell him that any publicity is good publicity, and thank you for checking it out. You went to my page, clicked on my link to my podcast, and watched however much of it to gain enough information to trash me. Here's the thing: I don't care what you say. I think you're just jealous because we have a podcast and you don't. I think you're just upset that instead of wanting to do it and just sitting there complaining because I can't do it, I went and did it. I think you're mad because I made a point and you can't argue it. So you have to come over here and trash something else that I work hard on because you don't have a factual argument. So you want to try and insult me. But here's the thing: words don't hurt my feelings. You can say whatever you want. I don't care. If we rock out with 2 viewers, 2 listeners, that's perfectly fine with me. I will show up here every single time to produce content for both of you. And I appreciate both of you very much. It's not going to change my feelings on it. I don't care if I ever make a single dime from this. I do it because I love it. And as an American people, or I'm not even going to say American people, human race, here's the problem. Stop hating on everything everybody is doing. Focus on yourself. Just focus on yourself. If you don't want somebody to say something about you, if you don't want somebody to have a problem with something you said, don't say it. If you don't want me to correct you, don't say it. That's like saying, oh, this guy called me a dummy. Well, did you do something dumb? Well, yeah. Well, don't do anything dumb. It's common sense. What did you do? Oh, I said 4 plus 4 is 91. Well, that makes you pretty stupid if you genuinely feel that way. Not only did you feel that 4 plus 4 was 91, you took a video of yourself saying that 4 plus 4 is 91 and put it on social media. And you expect not to get backlash for that? You see my point? If you don't want backlash, keep it to yourself. And that was the whole thing. Like, I saw a post that somebody had said something about a certain issue. And so I commented, you have the brain power for this stat, but you don't have to, like, you're trying to prove this, but you're ignoring this. That's not how it works. If you want people to understand you and listen to you, hit them with actual facts, not just half the story. And I was just giving my feedback, giving my opinion like everybody else. And then this random guy wants to come out of that woodwork and just start flapping his gums. Everybody wants to flap their gums. Just keep it to yourself. Keep it to yourself. Whatever happened to if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. Keep it to yourself. That's completely irrelevant to sports, but I don't care. I saw this guy and I had to bring it up. And I've been waiting to talk to you so I could read that to you because it was crazy. Like, why even bring up the podcast? That's what I told him. I said, one, the podcast has nothing to do with what we're talking about right now. So I don't even know why you brought it up. Secondly, thank you for checking it out. Sorry to hear that you don't like it. But thank you for the shout out though, because I don't understand why you do that. You come on here and try to insult me by hating on the podcast, but then you tell people to go listen to my podcast?
Exactly.
Something doesn't add up there. But anyway, hope y'all enjoyed that little rant session. Did you enjoy the rant session? Do you have anything to add on
I
to
did.
people hating on the podcast?
No, they can keep doing whatever they want. We'll just keep minding our business.
They just hate from the outside of the club because you can't even get in, cuz. Like, what? Anyway. I'm Eric. That's Nate. Stood down to see his podcast. We'll see y'all later. Happy divisional round weekend. Let's go.